Relations.
Inside Leominster is brought to you in part through the generous support of N.P. Crowley Company Incorporated and by Landmark Self-Storage in Leominster. www.landmarkselfstorage.com.
Hello and welcome to Inside Leominster. My name is Dean Mazzarella, Mayor for the city, and yes, we're live this afternoon, and we'll be here for the next hour. And if you want to join us at all, 978-534-1626 on this rainy end of April showers day, and here in Leominster, and we need it so badly. We could get an inch or more of rain, and I don't know, but it seems like every Thursday now, just like we used to celebrate the song Misty Blue, and started out because it was rainy, and last week we had the same situation, and the week before it was like snow. But anyway, we're going to talk to one of the most advanced local golfers who finds alternative ways to practice and condition for the next golf season, should it ever get here. It's time for long-awaited Art Report.
Let me tell you a couple little stories about golf. We'll start there first. Today, it looked like I had the wrong end of the club when I hit the ball. That's number one. Number two, do you ever get the feeling that when you're trying to deal with someone in a financial institution, you can't get the same answer from three different people? It's unbelievable. I start with the person, I'll call him, he's an accountant. I said, here's what I'm thinking of doing. What do you think? He said, great idea. And I said, how do I separate? He goes, here. I said, perfect. That's what I thought. Thank you. Taking the advice of a CPA.
Then
Now I go to a branch office. I'd like to do this, with that, and this. I was afraid of this. We'll call you. Oh, all right. 2.5 weeks go by. I don't get a call. So I go back in to the place. Hi, how are you today? I'm good. I'm still waiting for the call. Did you pay your bill? No call. So now I decide to go to the main office. Go to the main office. Somewhat similar. The person I'm talking with starts off with asking me why I want to do it. Well, that's none of your business. Here's what I want to do. I got nowhere with that. So finally, it was like a chicken sitting on an egg, and I got sore from sitting on the egg. I decided to wait a while. So I waited a couple, 3 weeks. Go down the other day, walk in to do something there at the main office, and I look over and I see somebody's not busy, but it's someone I haven't sat with. I said, you busy? No, come on in. I sat down. Here's what I'd like to do. He looks at me and says, that's a great idea. You want to do it right now? I said, I'd love to. How long will it take? Oh, 5 minutes. Done. Hello? Hello? My biggest concern is some poor sap that gets the runaround and doesn't pursue it anymore.
Yep.
Stuff like that really bugs the
Things happen like that all the time. And part of it is everything moves so quickly today. And now with COVID, everything's moving slow. The big excuse is, well, everything gets blamed on COVID. Like why, like I said, you try to try something on at a store and they're like, oh, sorry, I'm dressing. No, they've lifted that restriction weeks ago.
And, you know, I told him, I said, you know what, I'm really impressed with that. Who can I talk that I'd like to give you a pat on the back. And I said, and he said, there's absolutely no excuse that you got this runaround. I said, no shit. No kidding. I'm sorry.
Hey, geez.
I have a question from the missus.
Yeah, what she want, a recipe? One of my recipes?
No, she wants to know what's going in at the Pizza Hut at Searstown. Do you know yet?
Dairy Queen.
Oh. Now, the Carbine had a Dairy Queen at one time.
I remember it.
Yes.
I used to go in and have, with my buddy Lorenzo Bell, I used to go in and I used to have, they had good fried chicken with honey.
Yes. Yes. In fact, the owner left the Dairy Queen for about a month. They were gone. They went to England to start up a Dairy Queen.
Come on.
Yep, true story. And I remember when they came back, I can't remember his name, but I can picture him.
Wasn't it a Greek guy that owned it at one time?
Yeah. What was the name?
He was a Greek guy. I don't remember his name.
Yeah, short guy, crew cut. I can see him. Anyway, he came back and he said, we just couldn't sell the soft serve. They didn't like it.
No.
So they didn't stay open in England.
And that stuff's not cheap.
Is it Dyer, maybe? Dyer?
I don't remember. I don't.
That's too bad.
But I remember it was kind of like didn't look like a real Dairy Queen, but it was. And they had ice cream, and they had a restaurant there as well.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you right now, that's going to be a big hit down there.
Yeah, and that place ain't cheap.
It's big too. We can buy there today, and that's a big lot.
They open year round.
It's a big store, the Pizza Hut too, but that's a good mix. We need something like that.
If I understand it, and I may, I know you know me, I don't put out improper information, but it's the people that own the theaters out in Fitchburg.
Oh, decent. And I'm coming through Route 13 again today for an update for everybody. No delays.
Nope.
Every traffic was moving.
Yep.
Thanks to the PD down there. They're doing a heck of a job.
Nobody. Some people they're not doing anything. I said, trust me.
That's the place.
They are doing a lot of work, and they're doing it off the road. They're doing it sections at a time. They've got this thing thought out, and they are doing a good job. And they have to remember, you can't just widen the road. You got to move all the infrastructure underneath. So you got to move the water, the sewer, and the drainage. And
yes.
That's a lot that has to be done while you try to keep the road open. And then obviously they pave over it later, and then they'll set the curbings later. And then once it's all done, they'll go back and pave the whole thing. But it's a lot of work that they're doing. I'll
tell you,
millions.
I'm a firm believer in everything is cool and it's pretty and it's this and it's that if you really watch what's going on. The other day, stopped in traffic because, you got people coming out of gas stations, you got Dunkin' Donuts, you got Gardner traffic coming out. And I looked over and I saw 4 tractor trailers coming off the Gardner exit, and they were going all the way around. Yep. That's how many I could see was 4. So I'm sitting there. All of a sudden, it might have been, I don't know if it was Benghazi or the other guy, but anyway, the police officer comes up. I'm coming down, and I saw somewhat of a predicament. They wanted to get those trailers out of there because if they didn't, traffic would be backed up out on Route 2.
Right.
So I purposely stopped. I only had a couple cars behind me, and I flicked my lights, and the police officer gave me a high five.
See?
And he motioned for the trucks to come out because they were so big, they had to almost go in the gas station across the street to make the turn to clear to come out to head up to Whalum.
Wow.
And they did. And every one of those truckers, when he went by, gave me the air horn and thanked me.
Well, they're on time constriction.
Well, you got to help these guys out.
We
all have to help everybody out.
It
would be nice.
I have, in my business, I have a 30-foot trailer, and I don't pull it that long. So the truck is maybe 15 or 20 feet. The trailer's 30. Let me tell you, I could not drive one of those tractor trailers. I don't know how they manage to drive those things. I don't.
55-footers.
I can't even imagine trying to drive one of those. People are passing on the left.
Where's he going? He's going straight across the street. I said he has to clear the tandem when he makes the turn, or he'll rip down the signs.
You've got to watch constantly. People have no patience. They're passing you on the left, passing you on the right. They come from behind. Now they want to first, right? So now they've passed you, and now they're going to stop. They're going to cut in front of you and stop because they're trying to get off. you know that 290 exit off of 495 when you're heading to south and you get into 290? So they'll just drive all the way down, and then all of a sudden they'll just pull in front of a tractor-trailer truck and stop because that's where the line is, and they're trying to cut the line. And then when the poor truck driver gets in an accident, they're at fault. And I couldn't do it. I don't know. And, you know, they don't get paid very well at all, those truck drivers. And there's nationally, just speaking with some people today, their freight cost went up, and they're having a difficult time getting drivers. And especially those big companies, they're having a difficult time getting, first of all, I wouldn't want to do the job, but second, you can only drive so many hours. So I think it's like 10 hours, and you have to stop or something.
And not to mention 200 gallons of fuel you got to buy for a leg of your run, if you will.
Right.
And at the cost of that going up, everything's going up. It's ridiculous.
And they say, I listen to financial shows every day, and they keep saying, inflation is below 2%. That is they are artificially pretending that the economy is just chugging along and breaking records of all kinds. But all you have to do is take the little basket and go to the grocery store, not the one you push, just the one you carry, and go through the grocery store, or go through Home Depot, or go through anywhere and find, you know, even in business, we try to keep our costs down. We don't want to raise our prices at all. Some of the prices, we still got stuck back to, 10 years. We haven't increased the price at all. And I'll tell you, it's a struggle. It's because what we used to ship for $1.90 is now $7.90, $8.90.
I tell you.
I don't know how then they say there's no inflation.
My golf spikes are plastic, and they have a tendency to get loose, so you lose a couple every year. Every year, I buy a package. I think there's 8 of them in it, and it was $5.95. So I needed some this year. So I went to the store where I buy them every year, $10.95. I went, huh? I didn't buy them.
Yeah.
I went in the pro shop, and they were selling them for so much a piece. I said, great, I only need 3.
Right.
Thank you.
Yep.
But it doubled in price.
Everything's gone up. You can't get a used car. If you can, you're paying through the nose for it. There's not anything I can't think of that the prices aren't going up, because their costs are going up. So obviously they have to raise their prices. Cost of wages is wages are going up. As I said, trucking cost, fuel, diesel. So every day I listen, and they're like, yeah, inflation's still under control. I'm like, no, it isn't. You can't find help. Businesses call all day long and say, we cannot find help. We have all these contracts to fulfill, and I can't walk across the street downtown or walk out of my office without somebody stopping me saying, anybody? Is there anybody? I'll even hire part-time, whoever. I'll hire just warm bodies. I need people. So don't tell me there's no inflation.
That's for sure.
Believe in it.
And having said that,
adios.
Have a good day. May is right around the corner. Hope it warms up, because they don't sell earmuffs in the pro shop.
Especially in Gardner.
You got that right.
Salute.
Bye-bye.
So long. That was Art from the Art Report. We'll take a swig of water here. We're going to take a shot. What do we got on store there, Mr. Wayne? What do we have queued up? I don't see any Ronnie today. It's either that or he's lost so much weight I can't see him anymore. Anyway, we'll take a shot. What do we got?
Earth Day.
Earth Day, okay. Let's take a short break, and we'll be right back.
So we are out here for Earth Day, promoting our partnership with AIS. Seven Hills Aspire is a community-based day and employment supports program for adults with developmental and intellectual differences. Especially through COVID, it has been uniquely challenging to support folks in community employment because of a number of the restrictions and safety protocols. So with a partner like AIS, it's really a great opportunity for us to get folks out working in an integrated, meaningful way with other members of the community. And when we can give back in a way like this and help out on Earth Day, it's all the better.
We're back here inside Leominster. Thank you for watching. That's a little Earth Day celebration with Seven Hills and Foundation and AIS teamed up to help clean the Lancaster Street, Francis Street area, and they did just a magnificent job. And what you don't see is after that happened, we had quite a jab of laughs amongst each other, and we had a good time. It was actually cold that day. We had some snow flurries, but didn't stop them from celebrating Earth Day. All right, we're going to talk about mediation. Lisa Wood is the Executive Director of Mediation Services of North Central Massachusetts. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
We were just saying things are going to be busy.
Hopefully.
I am a firm believer in mediation, and mediation can be used for anything where there's conflict.
Exactly. Yeah, a lot of people, when they hear about mediation, they think of divorce mediators, and that's really all they think of. Our center is a community mediation center, conflict resolution center, so we do the gamut, essentially. The only thing we don't really do is divorces, because that's something that a lot of attorneys like to go and mediate, cases like that. We do primarily...
Well, they don't want you out there settling those cases. They can't charge $350 an hour to do mediation if you're out there doing it, right?
Right.
That's me saying that. That's not you.
So we are, we're a grant-based community mediation center. We work in the Fitchburg, Leominster, and Gardner-Winchendon district courts. And right now, all the courts are on Zoom, so we're doing that too. But what I really wanted to definitely talk to you about today was our housing mediation program, the part of the Governor's Eviction Diversion Initiative.
Just to kind of recap, the federal government and the state put a cap or put a halt on evictions.
Correct. There is currently a moratorium for moving people out, but that doesn't mean that people are not going to get served certain notices and that landlords aren't necessarily starting the process. So what community mediation centers around the state are doing is working with programs like RCAP Solutions, who they have some funds that they might be able to give people to help with the back rent if they were affected by COVID. But community mediation centers can help with that other piece. We can't help with the money piece, but we can help with the communication, or if there's issue between neighbors. So for instance, there might be a situation where, we live in a two-family house and you're above me and you're making a whole lot of noise because you're not going to work because you're unemployed due to COVID. And that's really bugging me, and it's kind of sparking tensions. And so community mediation centers can help with that, help you have a conversation, help you maybe develop some parameters around how we're going to be in the same space and share a space going forward. Right. And also, hopefully keep people in their homes so that they're not feeling that they are, the governor's goal is obviously to keep people in their homes. Us as community mediators, we're neutral, and so we want to help the parties find a solution that works for both of them. So if if staying in the house for another 6 months or a year works for the landlord and the tenants, that's great. If it doesn't, and they can somehow work out something, work out a move, and everyone has a place to go, and everyone's okay with doing that, then that's what works for them, and we're happy to help do that as well.
Finding solutions and
together.
Resolution, right?
Yes. Sure.
978-534-1626 is the phone number. You might just we'll leave you with some phone numbers and information so that if you need to make direct contact, we'll talk in generalization here today. But if you have any questions, by all means, feel free to call. But if not, you want to talk offline, we'll leave you the phone number, which is 978-466-9595.
Correct.
And is there any cost to it?
No, so if you fall within the housing mediation program, it's completely free. It's paid
Income
for.
eligible kind of thing?
It's paid for by the state. It's not even income. If you were
Really?
affected,
So anybody?
If you were affected by COVID,
Yep.
That program, we have some screening questions, but generally, people are getting screened into that program. Otherwise, our center, is kind of income dependent. If people, if it were, say, a commercial landlord and tenant having issues and they're not involved with the courts yet and they want to come to us and see if they can work it out, we do mediations on a sliding scale. And usually it's like a flat fee, $150 for a 3-hour mediation center, which, like you said, if you go to a private mediator, you're not necessarily getting that. And we are primarily grant funded. So we look for some contribution, but if people can't pay it, then we still do it.
It's a good resource to have, and obviously you don't want to, if there's a problem or a conflict, to continue on, because that just gets worse. Whether it's whose side of the yard is whose property is where, and surveyors and fences and all of that, and
exactly,
loud noise at night. Somebody has parties every single night, and this stuff goes on. It really makes for unpleasant situation. I mean, it does, and the conflict gets worse, and oftentimes the police get involved, and it just spirals out of control. So the sooner people can get to mediation, and I know you're speaking specifically you're speaking specifically to the housing issue, but I'm just saying in general, a mediation could be used for 1,000,001 different reasons. Beyond just the housing part. The housing part's going to be important because eventually the caps are going to come off, or the restrictions are going to come off. I suspect that there'll be government assistance in terms of providing some relief to landlords whose tenants didn't pay, to try to mediate that to keep those tenants into the building. Right. Otherwise, the courts are going to be filled with evictions.
Exactly. That's what they were expecting, and that's why we started this in November. They were expecting like a big flood, and then the goalpost keeps getting moved, so to speak. The moratorium keeps getting moved, and that, and that's fine. But eventually,
July now,
it's going
to June. And,
exactly.
Eventually, and then it's going to be October and November, and they're not going to want to put anybody out on the street. And so, how long can you keep this going is the real issue, and how long can some landlords go without rent? I mean, so it's just kicking the can down the road. But at the end of the day, I know there's money been appropriated through the federal government and the state to try to help with assistance with rental, and that will help obviously the landlord. And then it'll be determination of whether or not the landlord maybe had other previous situations going forward with the tenant and might not want to get. And so that kicks off a whole bunch of other things. But conflict could be anything. It could be a purchase somebody made from somebody and they bought something from them and it didn't end up working. I mean, there's so many areas of conflict that mediation could help with.
Exactly.
And,
a lot of the cases that we see in small claims court are things that could, but for their ability to communicate a little bit better, they would have resolved it without even going to court.
Right. And that's what you hope for.
That's a common theme that we hear is, if he would have just called me back, I wouldn't have filed this claim.
Communication.
Exactly. So we can certainly help with those types of things, between a consumer and business partners, business to business, all of that sort of thing is right in our wheelhouse. We deal with it all the time. And we also offer conflict coaching services. So mediation is a voluntary process, meaning both parties have to want to participate.
Right.
And sometimes we find, we'll get a call from the tenant or we'll get a call from the landlord, and the other person just isn't interested. No, I just want my day in court, and that's fine. But we can have an offline conversation with the person that is interested in resolving it, and help them think about ways that they might approach it differently and see if that helps them in negotiations, or see if that helps them more generally with another conflict that they're having, excuse me. And we're doing that with students in schools too. We do peer mediation programs with different schools throughout the area, to help them think of different ways that they can resolve conflict.
And a lot of times it's just being in front of someone. It's easier, and that's the problem with the internet or texting, is you don't have to be face-to-face with the person anymore. It's so much easier to say or do something when you don't have any contact with them. And so now you put people in the same room together, or one person's in one room, the other one's, and you go back and forth and kind of defuse the situation. And probably 80% of the time you find out that whoever's running back and forth in their world is just fueling the fire, and people don't have the right information. And once you can provide a couple of, well, let's try this. How about this? Oh yeah, okay, I can, you know, I could do that. And we go back to the other room. Well, they're willing to do that. Are you willing to do this? And next thing you know, you have conflict resolution, right?
Right, yeah, and our goal is ultimately, so even if we have parties that don't want to be in the same space initially, if we can, you know, work with them separately and then get them together eventually and give them the tools to speak with each other in the future, you know, that's the ultimate goal, is to give them the tools to sort of bring that forward and use when they have another conflict in the future, because, you know, daily life, you encounter conflicts every day.
It doesn't matter. It's all day. It's in front of us, and especially where you said people were home.
Exactly.
You might live in a 6-family or a 2-family, or all of a sudden you have neighborhood issues. A lot of fences went up, and I don't know if that's conflict resolution or not, but all I know is I saw a lot of fences going up between properties, and maybe that's, you know, they say, you know, good fences make good neighbors, but I don't know. I mean, if you have to put it up for that reason, it's probably not a good solution to the problem.
Right.
Kind of some people do it for privacy. I get that, but sometimes it's a bad neighbor. It's conflict between neighbors, and if the fence goes up and that's their way of resolving this, like, okay, I don't have to deal with them anymore.
Yeah.
But that's not a fun way to, I guess. But if it works for certain people and it resolves the problem, I guess that's it. Training and education. If a business or somebody said, hey, you know, we wouldn't mind having, you know, we employ a lot of people and we'd like to have somebody, or maybe it's a housing development or whatever, and occasionally sometimes, you know, at the condo association, we have a conflict with somebody who, you know, wants to change their brakes in the parking lot or something, and we have conflict. Would you help with a situation like that?
Yeah, certainly. So that, you know, that condo example might be, you know, a facilitated meeting where we could help them brainstorm ideas and have a conversation. You know, in terms of a business or a school, you know, we go and train, you know, for instance, Boys and Girls Club of Fitchburg and Leominster is one of our youth partners, and we do training for their staff every year as part of their professional development. We've done that with schools. Certainly, if a company came to us and said, "Hey, you know, we want to help our, you know, I don't know, customer service reps deal with clients better," you know, we'd certainly be open to developing a training or a workshop around that as well. One of my passions is really, you know, training youth and working with high school and middle school students, and giving them the tools so that they can, like, earlier in life start using those skills and really learn how to talk to people. I have 2 teenagers in my house, and I know their go-to is texting someone. They're having a problem with someone, they'll text them, and I'm like, no, just call them, have a conversation.
It's the fastest. The other day I was at a situation, and there were 2 people, and they weren't happy with each other. And one of them said, I don't think, in a very, very calm way, said, I don't think there's anything I can say at this point that will change your mind. But, so what can we do, like, at this very moment? I'm not going to respond or argue with you. There's nothing I can say. And it sort of diffused the whole thing. It didn't say, I'm not going to listen to you, you're dumb, you don't know what you're talking about. He just diffused it by saying, I'm sorry, sir, I don't think there's anything I can say right now that's going to make you happy. But what he said is, there's nothing I can say. But he didn't say that he wasn't willing to resolve it. It just might not be a continuation of the conversation. So he shifted it over to, but how do you think we can resolve this?
Right.
And it got resolved.
Exactly.
In 5 minutes.
A recognition of, I know I'm not going to change your mind by saying this.
And
you
maybe
have
wrong.
Strongly held beliefs. And that's fine. We all come from things, come at things from different perspectives. And, you know, even if I had a twin here, that doesn't mean that we're going to deal with things the same way. And so just having that recognition and being willing to listen to the other person's perspective and see if there's some way that you can, blend both of your perspectives and come up with a solution that works for both of you. That's our ultimate goal.
But not everybody can think on their feet that fast. Not everybody can. Sometimes you get emotionally caught up in a situation, and so you're right. Some of them have to be develop skills, which take time. But you don't have time to get all to a training session when two people are at So one person was smart enough, or I guess trained enough, or there was their personality to be able to diffuse the thing on their own, and so they were fortunate about that. But I think part of it is if you can train a culture or train people to think that way, there's probably they can adapt it, use it in all of their life, through all of their experiences. And then when they can't and they end up in court, then you can sort of hop in and say, all right, do you really want this to go in front of a clerk? Do you really want this to go in front of a judge? It might not come out the way you think it's going to come out. Everybody thinks they're right until they get in front of the judge or they get in front of a clerk. And then all of a sudden, it isn't quite as clear anymore. So sometimes you're better off to resolve this so it doesn't go, because it might not go your way, and your best chance is to maybe resolve it with a mediator.
Right, where you have some input, and we ask questions, we help people think things through, we help them think about, what's really important to them. Is it really the money, or is it something else?
Oh, it's every day he starts his motorcycle at 4 o'clock in the morning. Every day, and then he revs it up, and then he takes off, and I'm trying to sleep, right? Now we got to the root of the problem. It's really not this problem, it's something else. We finally found out. And then you get that sort of, well, you're right. You're probably right. I could not rev them. I could start it up and take off kind of quietly rather than waking up the whole neighborhood or something. It's like, yeah, you're right. I could do that for you.
Yeah, and it's sometimes just helpful for people to have that third-party perspective.
Sure.
Someone that doesn't have, I always say to people, I'm not invested in whether or not you make an agreement. Yeah. I'm not invested in whether, in whatever your issue is. I'm here to listen. I'm here to ask you questions and get you thinking maybe in a different way, and see how you want to resolve it. And ultimately, if folks want to go in front of the judge or the clerk magistrate, that's their decision. We don't keep anyone in a room.
Right.
And that's what we train our mediators to do. How to be neutral, how to, keep that confidentiality piece, how to help build trust between, not only myself and the parties, but the parties, with each other, and have that conversation and see if they can resolve it, move forward.
Do you help with financial pieces? Like if somebody says, well, he owes me $1,000, I want my $1,000. And then the other person says, well, he told me that, he didn't tell me that, the engine was about to explode 2 minutes after I bought it. And I know, he says I owe him $1,000, but this thing blew up on me and I told him to come get it and he didn't. Now I'm in small claims court. And will you take $500? I mean, can you do those kinds of things?
Yeah, so people certainly have those conversations, and somebody might, so the maximum on small claims is $7,000. I believe.
Is it up to $7,000 now? Yeah. How did that happen?
So sometimes they're owed 10. But they don't want to hire a lawyer, so they go to
7.
Small claims and they'll ask for less. But sometimes in mediation they take even less than that because maybe the principle was more important. They really just wanted an apology.
I don't know. Somebody owes me $10,000. I'm not taking 2 because that's principle.
And I can get some. Sometimes they just want to see an effort, or I did one,
make an attempt,
where there were some photographs taken and the person never got the photographs that they thought that they paid for.
Like a wedding kind of thing?
And there was really just, it was professional, like a professional photograph thing. And they just really wanted an understanding of like what was included, what wasn't included, and if that other piece wasn't included, they still wanted them. They just needed to figure out and how to have the conversation about, what that looks like.
So I thought I was paying $500, and this is what I was getting. This person said, you were paying $500, but you weren't getting this, you were getting that.
Yeah.
And that comes to, well, I could have sworn you said, or what's the contract say, or, right? I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, and that was just, and having the conversation, and, they were both able to sort of, walk out with what they needed, and then, you know, if there's like a previous business relationship between them, you know, did we start building that bridge back up again?
Yeah, you don't want to lose a customer over the whole thing. And at the end, somebody might say, you know what, I'll tell you what, you've been a customer or whatever, how much of this do you really need? Well, I had this list here, but honestly, if you can get me this, I'm out of here.
Exactly.
No problem. And they leave and whatever. And next time they have a signed contract, right? I know, I do a lot of things on a handshake, and I've had 99% of the time I have any trouble at all. It's that 1% of the time. It's like, oh, but if, you know, sometimes it works in certain businesses and sometimes it doesn't, right? I mean, that's my own experience and my own money and my own business is that, you know, kind of a handshake, hey, this is, and I've had virtually no trouble at all. But some people do. It's like, wait a minute, we talked about this. Well, you might get somebody that's really busy and they got a million things going on and they don't remember from this morning and now it's this afternoon on what you agreed to. So sometimes sitting them down, refreshing their memories, what do you really need? Yeah, you're right, I was busy. Yeah, you did say that. You know, you get people to loosen up. As they loosen up, you get more wiggle room out of them, right?
Yeah, you know, it's just hearing the person, you know, having a conversation and listening to what they're telling you instead of listening as we might to respond. I think in everyday life, you listen to think about what you're going to answer. And we really encourage people to listen. Hey, like, try to learn something new in this conversation. Maybe pick up a little piece that you didn't hear before and, use that.
There were two neighbors and they were always fighting. And somehow or another, they get me down there in the middle of all this on a Friday afternoon in June, and it's hot, and it's getting late, and it's been a long week, and the guy was really upset and yelling at his neighbor, and she completely diffused it. She said, and I won't use his name, and she looked at him and said, "What do you mean? Why do you treat me this way? I pray for you every day. I go to church every day. I pray for you." And he went, just like that. And I don't know whether they kept it up later or 5 weeks down the road, but it just sort of whoosh, just diffused it all. A few words.
Right.
Why do you act like this? I pray for you every day. Ask your wife. I used to go to church with her and I tell her all the time I pray for you. That just diffused the whole thing. There was something that wasn't really a big deal at all. Really wasn't. So, all right. So we've been talking to Lisa Wood. She's Executive Director of Mediation Services of North Central Massachusetts. Her phone number is 978-466-9595. And they do court mediation, community mediation. They do conflict coaching, training, and education. And right now their hot topic, I guess, or thing that's moved to the top of the list is housing.
Exactly.
And evictions. And we don't know what the final outcome is going to... What's going on? Oh, okay. Oh, we've already gone to 4:39. Okay. I talk too much. Anyway, thank you for joining us, and we'll get you back on again to kind of update us and stuff. How are things
That would be great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks
Great.
for your time.
Good topic. They'll unmic you. Don't take off without your mic on.
Yes,
they'll unmic you.
thank
We're
you.
going to take a short break, and then we're coming back, and we're going to be talking about, that now that everyone's just about got anybody that wanted their vaccine has just about got it. We're going to be talking about healthcare for all and how they can help us to reach the last segment of the people that maybe weren't sure, maybe it was a language barrier, whatever it might be, whatever obstacle it was, and they're going to be here to talk to us about that. We'll be right back.
Okay, so we're here today at Affordable Interior Systems in Leominster with the Mayor of Leominster, a good friend to the city and also to AIS, the Honorable Mayor D. Mazzarella, Tim Johnson from the Aspire program, Seven Hills Foundation. So we're celebrating Earth Day. It's kind of a cold day, but we have some team here from the Aspire program, and they've been helping out to clean not only the property alongside of AIS, but also a couple of the side streets that abut the area as well. So we're so proud to have them being a part of AIS. So proud. And not only are they here today, but they actually work at Aspire Monday through Friday, and they have probably the most important role in our factory. The factory is 11 acres under one roof, and they literally sterilize every touch point in the entire 11-acre facility every single day to make it safe for the 800 employees who work here. So first I'm going to let Tim Johnson talk a little bit about his program, and then we're going to turn the mic over to the mayor. Here you go, Tim.
Thank you, Rick. So Aspire, Seven Hills Aspire, is a community-based day and employment supports program for people with developmental differences. This partnership is one example of how our program looks to connect the person served with our communities, and any opportunity where we're able to connect people with meaningful community employment in this kind of a capacity, it's a great win-win for everybody. We very much appreciate the opportunity. We value very much the work that everybody here is doing, and thank you for allowing us to be a part of it.
Thank you, Mayor. And one more time, this is Mayor Dean Mazzarella, the longest standing mayor in the history of America.
Well, I'm standing.
A good friend, a real good friend. And
Me out there. They were harassing me. We're back here at Inside Leominster. Our phone number is 978-534-1626. That was a good session. And with us right now, you can take your mask off if you want. Oh, you can leave it on.
No, I'll take it off.
Is María González Albuixech, and she's the Director in Communications and Immigrant Healthcare for All. And they are advocates for health justice in Massachusetts by working to promote health equity, ensure coverage, and access for all. At the moment, they're out there canvassing the community and trying to reach people that might, you know, they just go amongst their business. They not sure they want to get the shot. They hear a lot of things on the street. And that's where most information comes from, right? It does.
On social media, not just the street,
Yeah, I know, but
the virtual streets,
but
right?
what is that? That's just a bunch of information that at the end you're not sure of because they just flood you pro and con. And once you go down one particular area, it sways you this way. But if you go down this avenue, it's like, and I'll tell you, just in the since Monday, I don't know how many people I talked to and said, I don't think I'm going to get the shot. But anyway, that's what your organization is doing. They're out there making that person-to-person, family-to-family connection. Mm-hmm. And you said you already canvassed, you're out there banging on doors like, can we talk to you for a minute?
Yeah, so I can explain what we're doing.
Yes, please.
This is part of a larger effort that is coordinated by the Department of Public Health. So early on, the Department of Public Health knew that this was going to be a very big task of getting everybody vaccinated, and they designed this program really targeting the 20 communities that were hardest hit. Right. And Leominster is one of those 20 communities. And so we have two partners, is Healthcare for All and Archipelago Strategies. And what we did is we kind of divided up the turf and to divide and conquer, right? That's what they say.
Arm wrestle. Whoever wins.
But, you know, at the end of the day, this is not a battle. This is really, you know, all being on the same page, trying to accomplish the same goal,
yes,
right?
Of course. Yeah.
So Leominster fell on our lap, and we were very happy because
you were like, yes, we got the best.
We got Fitchburg, we have Leominster, Brockton, Randolph, New Bedford, Fall River, Malden, Framingham, and parts of Boston. So in terms of like this area, we're seeing similar things throughout these communities. Right. These are very diverse communities, culturally very rich communities, I like to say, and people that speak many languages, people that may have different immigration statuses, people that may have many, many questions about the
different
vaccine.
Religious beliefs.
Different religious beliefs, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
So you really need to bring the information to people where they are, not just physically, but also, you know, mentally, right?
Sure.
So I think that is the part that you're talking about how people are hearing things from different areas and different people are saying different things. And then you kind of try to figure out what is true and what is not true, what is accurate, what's not accurate.
Right.
And you need
there's no law saying you have to get a vaccine.
Right.
So it's about connecting with them, getting them the right information. And then after that, that's, you know, and then if you want a shot, then we can connect you to get a shot. Now, things obviously have gotten better in the sense that, and we'll read through the local numbers here in a minute. And but clearly things have gotten better. I think we can, you know, when we started, it was that 3 columns. I want a shot right this second. Second column was, I'm going to take a little time before I get mine. I'm not rushing in. And the third was, absolutely not. Now it's those people that were rushing through the door. They had to get the shot. They really wanted to get it. They wanted to move on with their life. They wanted to minimize their risk. And for a whole host of reasons, most everybody that got one in that category is gone. So now you got another category that is, yeah, I'm going to get it, but I'm in no rush to get it. Then there's another category like, I'm still not sure. And then a third category is like, I haven't changed my mind. I'm not getting one. I haven't loosened up. And you did have a category of people that were waiting for the last couple of months to see how it went. And so they're kind of like, so you still get that. But it's a matter of getting the information out and letting people make their own.
So we're going to get you knock on doors, because those are exactly the categories that our canvassers have.
Oh, wait in the shrubs.
Yes.
They're like,
It's like you
they're coming
already
out for
had-
their mail. Here they come. Yeah, here they come. All right, excuse me. Yes.
So I think part of what you're saying is very clear. Some people were eager to get the vaccine.
Yes.
And some of them were just forcing a
those
little
people.
bit, forcing a little bit their pre-existing conditions and
Right.
their chronic conditions. And at this point, it feels like most people that were eager and ready to get a vaccine have been able to
Right, they either got the first shot or the first and second shot. Or the
both.
J&J. right.
Exactly. So they found a way to get the vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
However, these communities, the equity communities, are communities that are going to need extra help for the different barriers.
Right.
And that's why when people thought that on April 19th, when the eligibility was expanded, that we were going to have a line of people ready to get the vaccine. But at the end of the day, those people that wanted the vaccine had been utilizing their opportunities throughout, and the supply was increasing, and there were new alternatives, which I think it's great. It's that we have pharmacists offering the vaccine, you have providers offering the vaccine, you have Board of Health offering the vaccine. You
2
have the
cheeseburgers? Hang on a second. Go around the corner. You want a vaccine? Somebody said they walked into a drugstore the other day. Like, you have a table set up. It's like, would you like to get the vaccine? You know, they were in there buying gum or something. And like, yeah, I'm getting Lifesavers and some gum and a bag of chips. And they're like, hey, you want the vaccine? Like, oh, sure.
Well, you know what? That is a great approach to it.
Yeah.
That's really going to where people are and
That's
like
where they are.
making it, a real option. But we feel that because those options have been around for the last month and a half, people
Right.
have been able to get those vaccines for the most part.
Right.
So that line that we expected on April 19th is not really happening. And the job of that other category that you were discussing, that's where we are right now.
That's the harder.
And
That's the
it's like,
harder.
as you said, that's actually divided in different categories.
Yeah.
People that are like, maybe, yes, I'm leaning towards it, but might not be in a rush. The other ones are like, not sure
Taking
yet.
vitamin
I need
C.
more information, right? Yeah, I'll take my chances, or I already got COVID. I think I'm okay. I don't need it, which is not the case.
I had somebody yesterday that was an adamant no. Adamant, don't even talk to them about it. And they were like, yeah, I think I'm going to get it. Pretty soon they probably won't let you on a plane unless you got it. And just all, so people are starting to, they've watched other people, and you do get, from what I've heard, some people do get sick, like a flu kind of thing, and some people nothing. And everybody's got their own little spin on it. I know a guy who knows a guy who knows
Of
a
course.
guy, and he grew a third head. That
That has not happened yet.
I saw
far as I
pictures.
know.
I saw pictures on the internet. I saw pictures. See,
Oh, it must be true then if it was on the internet.
let me just, while you're here,
Sure.
Maria, I've got to do some slides here, and,
Sure.
and it's directly related to this. So let's see what we're doing for today. So this is as of yesterday, Wendy. This is as of yesterday. There were 102,432 people tested in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. 1,392, so 1,400 people tested positive. There were 12 deaths. One is too many. 176 in Worcester County, and we're steady at 69. We were at 800 and something only around the holiday season. We're at 8 something. That's how we became one of the communities. The hardest hit is right around the holidays. But what's important to remember is a manufacturing community. We're very labor. All the, the Portuguese-speaking people in the community, Latinos, it's a hard-working community. They are the people that go to work every day and work on construction sites and work in people's homes and so the most vulnerable. And we have a lot of...
I don't like to use the word vulnerable. They're underserved and underrepresented, because vulnerable implies that it's on them. It's actually the system that's not ready for
What
them.
I'm saying is, when they go to work...
They're essential workers.
No, right, but they are 3 across in a truck. That's what I meant by a vulnerable.
Right,
in other words, their risk factor is higher.
Exactly.
Because if one
Yes.
person has it and there's 6 people, like a foundation truck, there's
Right.
6 people in a truck, and they're heading out to Boston or whatever. One gets it, and they don't know they have it, and they're just not feeling well, but they got up and said,
Or they may not have any symptoms.
Right, and they go to work, and
Right.
chances are the rest of them. So that's what I mean. Yeah.
Right. That's
So-
what I'm saying. That is the risk is higher for sure.
And there are 4,000 beds total in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, hospital beds. There are 594 people in those beds right now, and 153 in intensive care. Here's our numbers as we look at the age group on those that have been vaccinated, one shot, and there's our percentage increase. And every week we've gone up considerably. If you start at 75 years and older, 81%. 65 to 74, you can read, it's 82%, and then 50 to 64, and then you get down to 0. Now, that just started on the 19th, 0 to 19, so they're only at 4%. But even 20 to 29 isn't bad at all with 34%, with at least one shot. Now, that'll change. New data comes out tonight, and we'll see that. Again, if you're having a difficult time, there's a language barrier. There's something going on that you haven't been able to get that vaccine. Vaccine at Leominster-ma.gov. We have a clinic coming up on the 5th, and we still have appointments available. You could call us, 978-534-7500, extension 0. And again, that's, or you can go to vaccine at Leominster-ma.gov, and that's the Moderna. And then on Thursday, May 6th, is the second shot for Pfizer. And then Friday, is May 7th, is the second shot for Pfizer. The following week will be J&J. We have a lot of people that are waiting for J&J. No, that's not going to happen. Do you guys have a sound thing back there so you can hear what's going on in here? No? You do? What did I say?
Yeah. Sorry, we missed what you said.
They're playing pong back there or whatever it is.
They're not paying attention.
They're paying attention. We got big trouble back here. Anyway, well, I think we have J&J the following week, I hope. Anyway.
So, yeah, some people want J&J, some people don't want it, but that's why having options, the whole game is about having options.
I'm okay. And yard waste pickup, if you're out there raking your leaves, getting your cardio in there, getting your arm strength built up. May 28th is the last day. Citywide yard sale returns. Hey, listen, it's amazing what you can't find in stores anymore, and you never know what you might have something in your house that people are looking for. And you get it out there in your yard sale, and here you go. You turn it into cash. Here we go with some projects in town. Downtown Park, work continues in front of the Rollstone Bank, really coming along. People are getting excited about it. The contract is Bates Construction that did the capping of the landfill. They are hitting it hard. We're going to be done by the end of May. They're paving on Merritt and Exchange Street areas, all those little side streets that were in horrible shape. Basically, those streets disintegrated. They didn't have potholes. They just didn't have a street. And doing water line replacements out in town again. And we're doing Chestnut Street work continues with water lines, and we'll continue with that. Some of the lines, it's hard to completely replace every line in the city, but we do it so we keep the water rates affordable. Mary Mav Paving, doing a great job. Now, we talked about this. There's Wayne clapping away over there, but we've explained this over and over again, but it's over a mile, and if we did that project all at once, it would cost us millions. If we used all of our Chapter 90 tax money, gas tax money, just the paving alone would be 3 years of just paving one street. And there are other streets in town. So we did the water, the sewer, the drain lines over. We did gas lines over. Everything is done. We have to wait for it to settle. And we've been paving it a section at a time. And then, so we've just paved another section. We'll do the last section more likely in the fall. If it doesn't snow in like October or September, we'll probably do it in the fall. There's some more. Merriam Ave is a big street, and it uses a lot of pavement. It's an extra wide road, and the connector paving also. We had ruts in the road where you didn't even have to touch your wheel on your car. All you had to do is, it was like a ride. When you go around, it's on the rail, and that's how bad it was. So that's been done. Again, commercial going on to the connector. And there we are at one of our excellently run vaccine clinics. People constantly will get back to us, and our feedback is, I can't believe how well run it was. Now, we've done factories. Today we did yesterday we did another round of factory. We've done teachers, we've done firefighters, municipal, and we've done it all. I mean, we personally, I don't know if you talked to Wendy, but we've personally been on the phone for months calling people, you know, and people that just couldn't navigate the system. And it's not easy. It wasn't easy, and then the state would change things, and they had another platform. And here we are. We were with the Cub Scouts the other day, Scouts, because it's males, females, boys, girls, and we had a great time. They all had prepared questions, and they were excellent. And it wasn't like their parents gave them the questions. They were really good questions. And we were at the United Methodist Church up there, and I told all the kids, I said, I had this paved today, especially for you, because I didn't want your parents to be upset if they hit a pothole. But as soon as you guys leave, we're going to take the pavement up, and we're going to go to where I'm going tomorrow. We're going to put all the pavement back on again. They believe me. And thank you to EIS. Again, we showed that little segment there. Tony Hawk donates $10,000 to a new skate park. There we go, tearing up the old skate park and putting in the new one. The beauty of spring, there we are, right outside City Hall, and those beautiful trees. They don't last long. Shoalin Farms continues. Get up to Shoalin Farm this weekend, and you'll see that things are starting to bloom there. And it's a beautiful city-owned. What town do you live in?
In Walpole.
In Walpole. It's a nice town.
It's nice.
Very nice town. And, but we have our own apple orchard. Johnny Appleseed was born here in the city, and we have our own apple orchard, and it's city-owned and volunteer-run, and it's a beautiful thing. So is there a way that people can connect with you directly, or should they just know that you'll be out in the neighborhood, and if you see somebody, they'll have identification, and they'll tell you what they're doing? And
That's what I wanted to say.
Oh.
But I love that you are so informed and you can actually give the
I'm just-
information.
they're telling me
it's very
there's
important
somebody
what you're
back there yelling
saying.
at
It's
me.
very important what you're saying. The people are canvassers, are out in the street, they're wearing uniforms, they have their name tags, and they have information that is actually the information coming from the Department of Public Health.
Right.
So this is a very legit effort, and if they knock on your door, they're gonna keep the physical distance,
Yeah.
and they're also gonna wear a mask, and they're gonna be very careful not to like get in your space, so they're gonna follow all that COVID-19
And they're gonna give you
protocol.
information.
And they're gonna give you all the information in different languages. They have it available, obviously in Leominster.
Could be anything.
It can be anything. But I think that there's a particular focus on Spanish speakers, and then we have three
Portuguese.
organizations, and Portuguese speakers. Eu falo também português, tá tudo bom.
That's our fastest growing population is Portuguese speaking.
From Brazil?
Yes.
Good, I love it. So we
They
work
cook.
with Framingham very
Love
closely.
the food.
Oh, every time.
Food to my heart.
That's my language.
I
So we're
know.
going to start talking food, and that's the end of the conversation here. But yes, we have all those languages, and we have three organizations on the ground that are working also and doing what we call visibility events, which means that they may be out tabling with information in front of supermarkets, at churches, and so forth. So we have the Spanish American Center, we have New View, and we have Catholic Charities as well working with us. And the information that they have is all information that has been translated in different languages, addresses each issues such as where to get the vaccine, who qualifies for the vaccine, safety of the vaccine, and so forth. And the canvassers are able to answer a lot of questions. People have questions about, do I need an ID when I go to a clinic? Do I need health insurance?
Yeah.
And we know that that's not the case. They don't need it. They may have questions about immigration. They're not going to be asked about their immigration status. Everybody has access to the vaccine regardless of their immigration status. So all these questions, transportation issues, how to get to the vaccine, and so forth.
And nobody's going to drag you out of your house and drag you down a vaccination site.
Maybe we need to start grabbing people by the ears. No, I'm just kidding.
Just open up your ears, just listen, and they'll get you the information if you want. Additional information will help you with that. At the end of the day, if you want to get to a site, we have a site at the mall. We'll be there next week, and there'll be others. I mean, there are CVS and Walgreens and a hospital and Reliant. There are so many different services, and there's almost no wait anymore.
That's exactly the case.
Well, thank you for driving all the way out here from Walpole, Massachusetts, in the rain, the pouring rain. You can barely see in front of you. Anyway, Maria, thank you very much for coming on with us, and we'll be seeing you, right?
Pleasure.
I
Thank
wish you
you.
success. We're out of time here inside Leominster. I want to thank the whole crew here. Thank you for coming in. It was like a monsoon. I can hear it on the roof here, the pitter-patter. Anyway, thank you for watching. Good night. God bless you. Remember, the world is run by those who show up. You need to show up. Good night.
Inside Leominster is brought to you in part through the generous support of N.P. Crowley Company Incorporated and by Landmark Self-Storage in Leominster. www.landmarkselfstorage.com